Loretta Lynch held a supposedly impromptu and informal meeting with former President Bill Clinton, but however informal it might have been intended to be, it has been extremely poorly received, and many are worried about whether she can actually be trusted to impartially and neutrally arbitrate and handle the Hillary Clinton potential indictment, which is going to develop more this weekend. And so in advance of calls for her to step down, to leave her position, many extremely influential Democrats have stepped up to defend her. And so you've got Chuck Schumer saying she's an honorable person. We know that. He goes on to say she has said nothing was discussed related to the investigation. So you have two choices: to say this didn't matter or she's lying. I think it didn't matter. I don't think she's lying. And Harry Reid says, all I can say is Loretta Lynch is one of the most outstanding human beings I've ever known. Which sounds actually like something Trump would have said.
Yes.
As opposed to Harry Reid.
She's tremendous. She's winning all the time.
She's winning, even though the situation, a bit of a mess. He also said no one could ever question her, which I don't think is literally true, since they're questioning her. Her strong feelings about the rule of law and her ethics, I repeat, are the best, which again sounds a bit Trumpian. I think he's starting to pervert both sides of the aisle here.
I have an explanation for this. Let me step in. So first off, you are empirically incorrect, Harry Reid. I question her. There, I did it. I guess I'm the first.
That didn't happen.
Okay, I'm the first. Okay,
cut that out.
And I've checked online. Turns out I'm not the first. A lot of people are questioning her. And then secondly, they're over the top with what John is calling Trumpian reaction to this. Gives you a sense of she's done something wrong.
Yes.
You don't come out.
Or they're worried.
Like, if you ask me about what kind of person is Jimmy Dore, I say he's a great guy, man. He's really funny. He's really smart. If I say, no, he's the best person I've ever seen in my life, okay? You should not question his ethics. You know what that gets you to go, wait, should I question his ethics? Right?
He thinks I'll protest too much.
Exactly. He's very good at Shakespearean quotes. That's normal, right? And then on Chuck Schumer, you have two choices: to say this didn't matter or she's lying. Nope, wrong again, Bob.
Right.
Those are not my two choices. No, I think that one, she might be lying. I will grant you that, and we should discuss that in a second. And two, but she might not be lying. That okay, they happen to have an interaction, but that matters.
Yeah, there's a choice. She's telling the truth, and that matters. Is a choice.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Now, look, she says, again, as was alluded to by Chuck Schumer, there was no discussion on any matter pending before the department or any matter pending with any other body, including Bill's body. There was no discussion of Benghazi, no discussion of State Department emails. She made reference to having discussed his grandchildren. I believe that she said that was one of the things that they talked about. Although notably, the photographers in the area were not allowed to take any photographs or video during this impromptu meeting, which was just about grandchildren.
And there was stuff in the emails about her grandchildren, too. So
now, we do have some video of Loretta Lynch. We've got two videos for you. Let's set up this first one, and then in short order, we'll get to the second. But here, questions to Loretta Lynch specifically. I believe this was in Aspen. What did you think that you were doing?
Of having the highest integrity, utmost solid judgment. So when people heard what went down in Phoenix, a lot of people were like, friends, supporters, backers were saying, what on earth was she thinking talking to Bill Clinton? So, what on earth were you thinking? What happened?
So that was funny, and I can't believe that wasn't actually on SNL. But in this next video, she is going to set up a defense for herself that I honestly believe that I've never actually seen. The way that she dodges this question was masterful. You're going to see that in this video.
I think that's the question of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, yes.
And I think that's a perfectly reasonable question. I think that's the question that is called, by what happened in. Because people have also wondered and raised questions about my role in the ultimate resolution of matters involving the investigation into the State Department emails. And to the extent that people have questions about that, about my role in that, certainly my meeting with him raises questions and concerns. And so, believe me, I completely get that question. And I think it is the question of the day. But I think the issue is, again, what is my role in how that matter is going to be resolved? And so let me be clear on how that is going to be resolved. I've gotten that question a lot also over time, and we usually don't go into those deliberations, but I do think it's important that people see what that process is like. As I've always indicated, the matter's being handled by career agents and investigators with the Department of Justice. They've had it since the beginning.
That was amazing.
Yeah,
she just kept saying, well, this is the issue, and there are a lot of issues. People have issues. It's a legitimate issue.
I mean, it is, John, to be fair, it is the question of the day.
It's the question of the day, but I think the true question is that.
Okay, so let me break it down, and then we'll all discuss. Number one, was there an appearance of corruption here? Absolutely. Terrible idea. Even if all they did was talk about Notre Dame football and their grandkids, you can't have the husband of the person you are going to pass judgment on as the Attorney General having a private conversation with you for half an hour and not think that that looks terrible. Hillary Clinton is going to get asked questions this weekend by the FBI, who will then report to her eventually. And so she's the head of that chain. That's a terrible appearance of corruption. That's not arguable. Number two, does she have high integrity? I'm actually, even though they're so over the top that it's comical, I generally agree with Reid and Schumer based on her history, not because she's a Democrat, etc. No one is, to the best of my knowledge, and I cover this daily, questioned her integrity before. Maybe Jimmy disagrees, so we'll get to that in a second. Hold on, let me finish the whole thing, right? So it's not like for example, if you question Bill Clinton's integrity, you wouldn't be the first. So there are some people who have a history of issues with integrity, and there are people who don't happen to. That doesn't mean they're going to do the right thing every time. I put her in the category one that had not had any issue in the past that I'm aware of. Okay, that doesn't, and I'm not the end all be all. Maybe she had some issues that I'm not aware of. Okay. Having said that, she might be lying. That coincidentally, Bill Clinton is in Phoenix at the same time. And now there are reports, including from the guy who broke the original reporter in Phoenix who broke the story, saying the FBI was saying no pictures from any reporters, no cell phones. Don't get away from the scene and don't take any pictures.
Now that's not constitutional.
Now, well, so okay, and so you guys, and then they asked, why is Bill Clinton in Phoenix randomly? Oh, he was going to play golf. Did he play golf? No comment. Oh, okay. This is really bad. It's so bad that it makes me think, is she trying to recuse herself and get out of this mess?
Maybe.
Because then Carl Bernstein came on TV last night and said, oh, no, she's got to go. I mean, not go as in get fired, but she can't judge this kid. Now, she just had a secret meeting with her husband. That's insane. Of course she's got to go. Well, maybe that's why, I mean, I know now this is a wild theory. As I told you, we started with certainty. We're getting to more speculation. And I don't know that she's lying, but I do know she should not have done this.
So the Senate Republicans have been saying for a while now, before they ever met on a tarmac, that they should have a special prosecutor, and it shouldn't be Loretta Lynch as part of this too. So having nothing to do with this meeting, this is not a new conversation that people are having on Capitol Hill.
When she's effectively, that's what she's done. I mean, look, she could always go back on this, but she said this morning, I will accept their recommendations, referring to the team of the prosecutors and the FBI agents. She says that the case will be resolved by the same team that has been working on it from the beginning. So if she's being honest there, then she has effectively removed her independent judgment from the process. If they say there should be an indictment, there will be an indictment. If they say there isn't, then there won't be. Now, again, it goes to what we think about her integrity when we judge, do we think she's being honest there, or is she simply responding to the pressure?
People who care about their integrity or their perception of their integrity, or especially people in great, powerful positions, care about the perception of a conflict of interest. So she knew that this would do this. She knew what she was doing was completely out of bounds and fucking did it anyway. So now all bets are off. You're gone. Now your credibility's out the window because you knew doing something like this would wreck your credibility, and you did it anyway. It wasn't an accident. You know, when the captain of the Titanic, I think they would have fired him afterwards had he lived. You know what I'm saying? Because you did this. So this is the equivalent of hitting an iceberg. You should have known you shouldn't have did this. She knew she shouldn't have did it. In fact, she said, I wish I knew where the locks were on the door so Bill Clinton couldn't come in. Well, when he came in, you tell him, get the fuck out of here. I'm investigating your wife. You know what she didn't do? She didn't do that. She said, come on and sit down, and because I have credibility and no one's going to question me, we're doing this completely unethical, underhanded, undermining thing to this investigation. No problems, Bill. I have credibility. Harry Reid is going to vouch for me. No problem. I've got credibility. You have no credibility. After you do this, you are done.
Okay, so that Jimmy's judgment is clear on her credibility. I would say I have a similar judgment on, at the very least, on her judgment. Because even if she thought in her mind, like, oh, no, we're not going to discuss the case, and this is the former president.
Well, that's the thing. You know,
right?
I'm the sitting attorney general, this is the former president, and we're not going to discuss the case. So it's still a dumb thing. But
yeah, I mean, it really does shoot her judgment, right? It really,
when I first heard about it.
Jimmy, I'm just establishing the bare minimums. At a bare, like, because right now, there's, in Washington world, they're still having a discussion about her judgment, let alone credibility.
Right, and there is, you know, when I first heard about it, I heard, oh, Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch met on the tarmac in Phoenix. I thought literally their planes were parked. They said, and I still was upset.
Yes,
you know,
which would have been a coincidence.
Which would have been, well, it happened. I mean, but that does happen.
Yes.
Like their planes are parked. You see people, the oddest political, people going on these planes and whatnot. So I thought, oh, that's a coincidence, whatever. I was still pissed about it, right?
Yeah.
That they even exchanged it, and then I heard that they actually sat down and met. But what the first thing I thought of was Antonin Scalia. And I thought of him hunting with Dick Cheney in Texas, bunking with him at the time when a case that was called In Re Richard Cheney was before the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And that to me, and we're not here to play better or worse and defend anything, that's much worse. Because here, what Loretta Lynch said is true, is that there is a team of people that are inside the Justice Department who've been working on this case against Hillary Clinton since before Loretta Lynch walked into the Justice Department. With Antonin Scalia, he was one person who did not recuse himself from that case. He's one person. His only judgment was himself. If Loretta Lynch thinks that Hillary Clinton did nothing wrong, it doesn't matter because she has to be accountable to a team of people who've been working so long on this. I'm not saying either of them are right, but that's why I think they're different.
So the thing that I'm trying to figure out how much potentially worse that other case is. If the FBI decides, no, you should indict, how public is that information? Is it possible that she simply filters their recommendations and says, it was wishy-washy and we never actually know? Or is it totally out in the public what they say?
It's probably not public.
If it's not public, that's a problem.
But the potential for it to go public, if she does something different than what the recommendations of the Justice Department are,
or something.
Of course, that would come right back.
Okay, I think at the very least, whatever the recommendation is, should be delivered by some representative of the team or the FBI and should be totally not filtered through Loretta Lynch. That's what I would say.
It should be
supposedly, transparency is really popular in D.C. these days. That's what they keep saying.
So we're all agreed, no question, she should not have done this. It was a terrible decision on her part at a bare minimum. Okay, so now one more piece of speculation.
Walk of shame.
Now, I've been involved in politics, and I know some of the tricks that are played. So one trick that you might not normally think of is stretch out the timeline. Okay, so if she has to recuse herself, that takes a little longer. If they get a special prosecutor, that sounds really bad, but it might take longer. And the one thing Hillary Clinton needs is time. If she could stretch this out till past the election, mission accomplished. If she's president, have at it, Hoss, special prosecutor. Good luck with that, okay? Somebody else, good luck with that. So they might not have said anything because they are savvy and really smart people. They might have said, let's go meet in Phoenix and then not talk about the case. So you can come out and say, I'm not lying, we didn't talk about the case. But that'll create...
that requires a damn bit of forethought that I don't know that
I would have that forethought.
I mean, look, we did just see yesterday the State Department...
The
State Department just announced, I believe, yesterday that they're requesting an additional 27-month delay on some of Hillary's emails being released. That's a delay, man. That's a long delay.
How do you come up with 27 months also?
I don't know.
No, because
I don't know. When you're pulling something out of your ass, you can't be choosy.
That's why. Now, normally my theory might be, well, it's a bit much, right? I get that, but this is a time where anyone who's versed in politics and knows sometimes you stretch a timeline.
Yeah.
This is the time to stretch a timeline.
Depending on how far you can stretch it. Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
That's
I
right.
mean, if it's a matter of appointing a special prosecutor, it's a 30-day delay. It gets worse and worse.
That would be worse.
That
Yeah,
would
it's
be
risky.
worse. But yeah, I mean, listen, all of this
I
stuff
think
is
this is
fascinating
very-
to talk about. But I again, you have to go back to what the emails are, and if they're worth even all this speculation, or if they're worth more speculation. I mean, and we don't know that yet. And
If
I
there
think,
was
you know,
nothing in those emails, I don't think Bill Clinton would have did this. I don't think he would have did this if there was nothing.
No,
why
on this
stretch
one,
it
I'm
out?
totally with Jimmy. Because if you got nothing to worry about,
Why
you're
you-
not risking this.
And you want
Let
it to be
alone Loretta
over.
Lynch. Bill Clinton doesn't risk this.
But again, when you're saying this, what is this? Faking a golf trip? Absolutely. But if he was in Phoenix and we don't know why he was in Phoenix, if he did golf, if he did go to a fundraiser, it's a swing state, all of those things. If he was in there for other reasons, I don't think he did anything other than try to charm the Attorney General like he does with anybody else.
Which he knows is
Which,
one of the-
right, but
But
if
by the way, it might be that Loretta Lynch made a terrible judgment call there in meeting with Bill Clinton when she shouldn't have. But Bill Clinton, we know, is savvy enough not to have that be a mistaken judgment.
Yeah.
But he also knows
if even granting that he happened to be in the same exact place as Loretta Lynch, which I'm not granting, but even if you granted that, then at that moment he made a calculation. If I walk into this plane, that buys me X number of
that's
months.
why-
Yes.
That
Right.
buys me,
That's,
etc.
doesn't
that's
hurt
why.
him.
That's why the calculation of being in the same place to me is of no moment in this. What you just said is the most important part. I mean, it's the bad judgment on the part of two people. How they got there, unless it was choreographed, which I would guess it wasn't. And I don't think it matters that they're both in Phoenix.
I think when we called this bad judgment, this wasn't bad judgment. They didn't go, oh shit, you're right, that was wrong. They didn't make a mistake. They did this on purpose with this express plan to do exactly what they're doing.
Well, so Jimmy. I just want to clarify for the audience. That's where we have a slight disagreement. So Michael thinks it's more likely to be bad judgment. I think. Hold on. I think that it is possibly bad judgment, possibly on purpose. But either way, we all agree it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Totally unacceptable.
exactly.
Yeah. And
This was
again,
totally intentional. This
from-
is the fact that
Well,
you
you
can
don't
utter
know that, Jimmy. I mean, you really don't know that.
Hey, I don't know that.
I
the
don't
mood
know it
is-
either. I don't know that it's not.
The
but you
mood
don't
might
know
be made
that
out
it
of
is.
cheese, but I'm pretty sure it's not.
But Jimmy, you don't know that this was choreographed to have
totally
them both,
we
to have
know
them
it
both
was.
in Phoenix. You don't know that.
Oh,
You-
we do
you
know
can't-
that it was choreographed.
And we
once
may
they got
find
on the
out,
ground.
but I don't know either. I'm just saying that none of that matters. What matters is what happened when they were there.
I think it all matters.
Well,
I do.
it certainly doesn't matter as much. There's
Okay.
no way to say that it does.
Well, so what do you think should happen from this? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Final point then. What do you think?
I don't know what. So what do you think should happen from this?
I mean, honestly, I think that she has to make a really great case to the Congress why she should stay on this case. I don't know that she's as passionate about it, and she probably goes a longer way by just recusing herself. I don't know that a special prosecutor is. I don't know what the cure is specifically. I don't know if it's a special prosecutor. I don't know if it's a deputy secretary. I don't know how they do that. I don't know who's batting second in that lineup. But I think that she should get as far away from this case as she can.
So here, I've got some real
And President Obama
consequences.
should probably intervene on that score too.
Right. So if President Obama really was mad about this, which that's a big if, and if I'm President Obama, here's what I would do. Oh, you want to play games? I'm not talking about Loretta Lynch. I'm talking about the Clintons. You want to go into a plane for half an hour. You're Bill Clinton. You knew what you were doing, right? So, okay, then I'm going to put an end to the game playing. Either deputy secretary or special prosecutor. I don't really care that much, but hey,
I
what's
just don't know how
tougher
it
is
works, yeah.
probably special prosecutor, so special prosecutor. And they will have a decision by October. No ands, ifs, or buts. Now, look, if you're a Bernie Sanders supporter, you want the decision tomorrow, but that's not realistic. I wish it was, but it's not. So, but we'll have it by October. You want to keep playing games? Okay, now it's right before the election. Well, that's what you get for playing
To
games.
be fair, they've had deadlines before. that they've
No,
all
well,
passed.
if you don't have it by October, then the American people can make up their minds. Now, of course, President Obama would never, ever, ever do that because that would be greatly detrimental to his own party. Let's just keep it real. But if you wanted to send a message about how
You really
totally
want
unacceptable
to
this is-
send a message. You named Ken Starr.